So let's just jump right into this. I know a lot of you are probably prepping for the holidays, so you're probably looking for some cool things to do for the holidays. Hey, Jen. And so welcome our food curator and chef, Jennifer Armstrong Hicks. She's going to be walking us through a cool recipe, something that you could do at home, something that you can also make or create with your family. And I think food is such a communal thing, so why not get the family in the kitchen and sort of like bond over cooking and dicing up the vegetables and preparing the meals for the holidays. I do want to first ask you, how are you doing before you get into the recipe, as I'm jumping ahead of myself. How are you doing, Jen? How's everything going?
It's going great. It's been unseasonably warm here where I am in North Carolina, so that's kind of fabulous. We've been able to get outside and, you know, do those things that you would have finished doing in like early October, so it's kind of cool to be doing that in November.
No. But and then for our guests or our viewers who are watching, we want to know how you're doing. If you're having a great day, put the best emoji in our chat that lets us know what kind of week you've been having, what kind of day you're having. I know it's probably going to be mixed reviews. I'm a little jealous of Jen's weather. As a matter of fact, I'm wishing weather. I was outside today earlier, had to do a dentist run, and it was blistering. No, it wasn't cold, but it was frothy. We'll put it like it was frothy.
Yeah.
So I see
not
you got
frosty here yet.
Yeah. Exactly. So I do want to give the audience a little background about this, how this all came to be. So Art Bites was a cool creation, by our learning and engagement team at the Newark Museum of Art. Shout out to Elise and shout out to Fran Garrido. Those two educators are always coming up with cool ideas. And so we wanted to like bring in some other perspectives in how we look at art. And the best way we thought to make art more exciting was to add the element of food. Ergo, chef, food curator, and chef Jennifer Hicks, Jennifer Armstrong Hicks, who is now joining us and sort of helped us cultivate this new series. So we're going to be exploring the combination of food and how food and art sort of complement one another. And speaking of food and art, we sent you over some art pieces for you to look at to sort of come up with a food element that would be inspired by it. So I'm going to share the artwork. Feel free to the artwork and sort of tell the people a little bit about what inspired you, what made you pick this particular art piece, and then also, what food aspiration or food inspiration came because of it. So you go ahead and chit chat with our viewers really quickly, and I'll pull up the artwork.
Okay. So the artwork is called Apples, and it's by, which is, pretty obvious a title, but it's by an artist named Florence Kent. Mm-hmm. Who kind of came up around, like in the 30s with influences in the 30s and beyond. Yeah. But it's a screen print, and I love it because it's got a really striking color, really bold color. I love the blue and yellow together. And something that I thought was really cool is that the apples are yellow, which they're golden delicious apples, they're yellow apples, but you usually see apples depicted as either red or maybe green. So I thought it was kind of cool that she chose yellow, and it looks so sharp with the blue. And I have a lot of questions about it. Like, I want to know about this lampshade. What's going on there? You've got this like cute little lady, with her, and I've got my blue top on to mimic this like lady. But I wonder, why, was that a lampshade that she actually had, or, is that something that just kind of came to mind? And then, of course, I love all the patterns that are in the shade and just kind of the work overall. And I love screen printing. I did a bunch of screen printing in college, and so that's kind of near and dear. And anytime I get a chance to look at that kind of work, I'm always into it, always game. So the apples obviously inspired an apple-related dish, but apple pie, everybody's got kind of their favorite apple pie. I didn't want to go that route, and there are just so many apple things that kind of go sweet. And even though I've trained as a pastry chef, I also have worked as a chef, just in other ways in the kitchen. So I thought it would be really cool to do something that we could use for a lot of different things in the kitchen. And I love chutney. So I decided we would do an apple jalapeno chutney I like those little bits of green in the lampshade, so that makes me think of those little like tiny jewel-like pieces of jalapeno in the chutney. And I just thought that would be a fun thing. It's something that you can use in a lot of different ways, and it's just so wonderful. So that's what we're gonna do.
Well, I'm excited. Hopefully all of our viewers got a chance to really get into that artwork. I noticed a lot of our comments were about how much you coordinated with the art. And I must say you did a very amazing, immaculate job picking out
Look, all the way down to a bowl of yellow apples.
Look at that. Look at that. Well, I'm already on board for this recipe. I'm sure our viewers are as well, because you had me at apples. Apples are one of my favorite fruit. And I think that because it's fall, apples tends to be something that's, you know, a prized fruit or prized commodity, because you think about apple pies, you think about all the many other dishes that are made during the fall, especially during Thanksgiving, that involve apples. So with that, let's not hold the people up any longer. Let's just jump right into the recipe. And while you adjust to get ready to switch the camera around, go for it. I'll just shoot some questions to my audience. I want to know from you all, how many of you all love apples? If you love apples, go ahead and throw those in the chat. If you're a fan of things, chutneys as well, because that's what we're going to be focused on tonight. We're going to be focused on the chutney. So if you loved chutneys, I know I'm a fan of certain types of chutney. This is my first time seeing a jalapeno-based chutney, which I'm excited about, because if you know me, I love heat. So I don't know if any of you all have ever had that combo of sweet and hot, right? I love those two things together. If you love that, I see a lot of hearts are going up, so I'm guessing that's a yes. If you love all of those things and those elements, we have something special for you that Chef Jennifer Armstrong is going to be bringing. Chef Jennifer Armstrong Hicks is going to be bringing to us in a couple of seconds. So it looks like she's ready to rock and roll. And the bowls are out. I'm going to pass the baton over. Let's get into this.
All right. So this is such a simple recipe. There's nothing complicated that you really have to have, and there are a couple of things that you could substitute if you don't have them in your kitchen already. So I'll mention those as we kind of go through the recipe. And Daryl, you said you were going to post the recipe in the IG later, right?
So we don't have the recipe to post here in IG. However, we will have it is on our website page. So if you go to our, you will be able to pick up get the ingredients for the recipe, and the ingredients will live. This story will live on our IG. So when we're done at today, and you missed any moment or missed any beat of this recipe breakdown, you can always come back to our IG, and you'll be able to follow along with Chef Jen as she goes back through the process. So feel free. It'll be so go for it. You'll be able to come and find all the ingredients you need after we post.
Awesome. So the first thing that you want to do is dice up a couple of apples. And I used Granny Smith for this, but if you want to try this kind, I thought this was really interesting. I saw this at Trader Joe's. They're beautiful. They're like really, really golden, and they're called opal apples. That's a fun thing to say, opal apples. But apparently they are naturally resistant to turning brown. So that's kind of a cool thing, especially if you're putting them in like kid lunch boxes. So I diced the apples. I peel and cut them off the core, and then cut them in a nice like small square dice. And so right now I've got them in a stainless steel bowl, which if you're going to use vinegar, it's good to either use maybe a plastic bowl or melamine or stainless steel. You don't ever really want to put it in aluminum, because the vinegar can react with aluminum and not taste great. So you want to put it in a stainless steel. And then the next thing I'm going to add is some diced onion, and I diced that pretty finely. So we just put that in there. Then I'm going to add the vinegar, which is an apple cider vinegar. This is a really popular brand of that type of vinegar. Sometimes you find that at a place like Whole Foods or Trader Joe's, and it's raw, unfiltered, and organic, which is always nice. So you just add that right on top of everything. And then we add some sugar, and this is a cup of sugar, just granulated, nothing fancy. Then I have some diced jalapeno peppers that came straight out of the garden here in North Carolina. So we're going to pop those in. And again, I love how those look like little emeralds. They always look so pretty when you dice up jalapenos. After that, we have some ginger and garlic. And you can tell that it's diced up about the same size. There's more ginger than garlic in the recipe, so it's nice and kind of spicy in that gingery way. And then we have a cinnamon stick. I break it in half just to kind of get a little bit more surface area. And we have some chopped dried apricots. Again, all these things look like jewels, and when they cook it, it's the same. It like looks even more fun. And then after that, we have some dried cranberries. And you could put them in whole. I chop them up a little bit because I just don't like big chunks of it in there, so I chop mine a little. It can be a little challenging to chop cranberries because they're sticky, but they're great. Also, in this recipe, I put cardamom in. I love cardamom. It's kind of a, if you haven't used it, it's kind of a peppery, citrusy kind of spice. I think it really adds a lot to this recipe. So if you don't have cardamom, traditionally, sometimes something like allspice or cinnamon is used. You could actually use ground cinnamon in addition to the cinnamon stick. Then we need a little bit of salt. So I'm using kosher salt here. We just pop that in there. And that is it for the ingredients that need to kind of marinate a little bit. So I just stir this together, and if you're making it, it's really good to make it, you can make it day of, but it's really good to make it a day in advance. So you put all the ingredients together, you stir them together like this, and then cover it with plastic and set it aside overnight. And here's a look at what it looks like.
So there's the benefit to letting it steep overnight when it comes to, I'm guessing, the flavor and letting.
Yeah, like all the flavors kind of marinate, and they just kind of, it just gets a little richer and deeper, and so it's really nice when it has a chance to do that. Nice. But even if it doesn't, it's still going to be wonderful, and you're going to cook it for the next day when you're ready. You put it in a saucepan. Again, you want to use stainless steel. Not aluminum, and then you want to cook it for around 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, and I'm going to grab the pot. I have some cooking right now, so I'm going to grab it and show you what it looks like. So this is kind of how it looks after it's been cooking
delicious
for a while.
We're only halfway through the process, but it looks delicious already.
Yeah. So it's like, it's been cooking for about 30 minutes, and it's almost everything is translucent, but you're looking for the apples to kind of turn from being opaque to translucent. Mm-hmm. That's really sort of the turning point. And then when you get here, you can add the slurry, cornstarch slurry, which is just a little bit of cornstarch and water. And you just mix it until that cornstarch dissolves a little bit. And then you pour it into the mixture and just stir it a little bit. Give it a couple more minutes to bubble, and then it's done.
Now you said slurry. Before you jump into the slurry part, what is a slurry? For those, like, I feel food illiterate sometimes. So break down for our viewers what a slurry is, because I'm sure there may be some viewers who are watching who are like, well, what is a slurry? Is that like a McFlurry? Or what is that? So
Here, I'm going to tip you up. A slurry is just it's a thickener for something that you're cooking that's kind of liquefied. And so instead of just putting dry thickener in, like cornstarch or arrowroot, something like that, you mix it in a little bit of water so that it has a chance to mix into that mixture and doesn't clump up or leave dry spots or something like that. So when you mix it with just a little bit of water, and then you give it a little bit of time to kind of cook off the water that was mixed in, then it comes out smooth and not lumpy and not weird. So that's a slurry in a nutshell.
Learn something new every day. That's something I totally didn't know. I'm curious for our viewers, how many of you already knew what a slurry was? If you knew what a slurry was already in the chat, just throw thumbs up, because I'm curious how many chefs we have in our chat who are watching. How many of you all are already familiar with these cooking lingo, or these cooking terms, I should say, that help you, I guess, step by step run the process down for those who may be, again, like myself, food illiterate. But thanks, because like I said, I had no clue. So let's move forward. Let's move forward. I see some people already chiming in. Nope. Let's move forward. So we get the I guess the chutney thickened, right? And then after we get it thickened, what's the next step? Where do we go from there?
It's super basic after that. You can either use it hot, which most people don't use it hot, although it's really good hot on certain things.
Okay.
Like you might want to put it with a roasted pork loin hot, or you might want to just put it, I mean, when we made it the first time, I just put it on cheese and crackers, like a little bit warm, and it's really good like that. But you can put it in a jar, something like this. And this is really good because it holds a lot. And you can put it in the jar and just refrigerate it.
Okay.
And it lasts for a really long time. So it'll last for easily 2 to 3 months in the refrigerator if you don't go through it all first.
I love it. I love that it's in the jar. It kind of it doubles as a gift. You can make some for yourself. And
exactly.
gift the extras, right?
Yep.
For those who are looking for cool gifting ideas, and you're, nifty around the kitchen, this might be the gifting idea for you, especially if you come from a family of foodies like myself. So if you give me, whether it's alcohol or food, I'm always on and our gift card.
Either one or both.
Yeah, and I do
both
take
is good.
So that I think that's a great gifting idea to also like use that jar, as we said earlier, take the extras, jar it up, and then give it away as gifts. So moving forward, if you were to like plate this, or if you were to set this up for a charcuterie, what would be the best way of going about doing that?
Well, there are a couple of ways that you could, I mean, there are so many things you can do with it. Like I mentioned, you can put it on pork. I mean, this is a traditional Indian condiment. So chutney is found in and on lots of Indian food, which is amazing. So you could certainly make like an awesome roasted cauliflower curry and have it as an accompaniment to that, which would be amazing. And sometimes it goes on things that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Like I really like, I like to add it on a sandwich, like on a panini. I mean, if you did roasted turkey and some kind of brie or something like that, and a little bit of this, and put it on a panini press, you're good to go. Like that would be super delicious.
That sounds like my language. I love a great panini, so I would.
Me too. I'm a fan of the hot sandwich in a big way. So another thing, if you are able to safely get together with people, or you just want to make this for yourself, you can do a cheese board. So I'm gonna switch my camera a little bit again so you can
Sure, go for it. How many of you all are still Christmas shopping or started Christmas shopping yet? I know while we adjust, I'm curious to hear or see if any of you all have. If you've got your Christmas gifts ready, throw some Christmas boxes in the chat, some Christmas box emojis. If you're still shopping, then I guess put the gas button in the chat. I'm curious to see who's already ahead of the game, especially considering we've been indoors this whole time. So maybe you jumped the gun and did all of your shopping online. That looks so delicious.
So, in this case, I've just got some little crackers, a little bit of cheese. Like I've got a triple cream, washed rind cheese, some Comte de Gruyere, a little bit of salami, some berries. You see a lot of these online right now. They're so fun. Cheese boards are super easy to make, and they look really impressive. So if you were going to make one for somebody, you could add this to it, and that would be an awesome thing to, grab a little cracker, grab a little bit of this cheese, get a little bit of your stuff on there, and then you've got like a killer little, hors d'oeuvre.
You're giving us.
Then, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, you're giving us an amazing, very practical way of executing something in the kitchen where we look like experts ourselves. I'm like,
that's right.
I might come out of the holidays unsingle, like if I'm able to like whip something up.
Perfect. And then something else I really love is, we are in the South, so very frequently at gatherings you see deviled eggs. And so in this case, I made some curry deviled eggs, which is one of my favorite combinations. I really love that spice combination, and it makes the yellow of the egg really yellow, like extra yellow.
Yeah.
So what I would normally do with this is just get that chutney and put like a little tiny bit on top,
Okay.
just a teeny bit. And then you can also, this also has a little bit of cilantro. So if you are inclined, this is such a cool thing because the egg itself is really savory and it's kind of salty. And then this is really tart and sweet. And it's such a cool contrast that I think it would be, I think you could impress some people with your.
I'm so ready for the pandemic to be over because I visit my family in Virginia quite often, and you're in Carolina, so I'm going to have to pit stop.
For sure, come down here.
I'm about to invite myself for dinner. This looks delicious. Like, I want a plate so bad right now. I'm so jealous that I'm here in North Jersey, not able to partake in any of those hors d'oeuvres you have there on your cutting board, or your table there. Those look delicious.
Good. Yep, we are definitely going to devour them. Once I'm off camera, I'm sure my whole family will descend upon this tray and wolf everything down. So no scraps.
If you wanted to pair this for the grown and sexy, if you wanted to pair this with the wine, what wine pairing might you look for? I see a couple of people in the chat are already like, what about the wine? So yeah, what about?
Right. Yeah, I'd probably, I might think about putting it with like a Pinot Grigio or maybe something that can hold up to something tart. Maybe like a Gruner Veltliner. Those are really, those are great with spicy food. So if you're going to have, kind of like a spicy curry and you use this with it, that would be a cool combination because that's a really crisp wine and it works well with spicy, but then you've got this tart that kind of like matches a little bit with it. So I think those two would probably be my go-to.
Okay.
To have with it.
I love it. I'm like, you've really set it straight for the holidays, especially those gatherings. This holiday, outside of any other, probably be a lot smaller and more intimate. So for those who are like myself, who, we're okay in the kitchen, but that's maybe not where our strongest strength may be, you've given us some tools to equip us to be able to look, like we are experts around our family members who may not be able to have grandmom's, homemade Thanksgiving meal, or, your favorite auntie or uncle who chefs it up all the time. So we do appreciate you taking out this time and rocking with us for the past 20 to 15 minutes to show us this recipe and break it down. Now, I do want to tell our viewers that this will live on our Instagram story at the end of the live. So if you missed any of the steps in her creating this beautiful, amazing chutney, you'll be able to follow along again via our IG, and we'll make sure that the recipe is also on our website. We've dropped the link once before in our chat, but I have one of my colleagues who's also in the chat, so maybe Sylvia would drop that link one more time for us. For those who are watching, if you want to click the chat to go and follow that to the recipe, you can do so. And again, come back to the video and watch the video again so you can follow play-by-play with our food curator and chef, Jennifer Armstrong Hicks, and see some of the cool ways to be able to like set up your charcuterie board or cheese board in this case. I like the deviled egg combination. That was really cool.
It's an easy one. It's so easy, and it's a neat way to like elevate it just a little bit.
Yeah.
You could have you could have plain old deviled eggs, but you could also add this extra little thing, and it feels just like that much more gourmet, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm all about making our food jazzy, right? You shouldn't be the only snazzily dressed person at the dinner table. Why not dress as well? So I'm so here for that. Well, if you enjoyed this, make sure you tune in because this will not be our last Art Bites. Jennifer's going to be joining us in December for another episode of Art Bites, where we'll be bringing on another cool work from our collection that she'll be inspired by, and she'll have another cool, delicious recipe for us to rock out with. So if you enjoyed this, let's see some thumbs up in our chat. Let's see some can't get my words together. Let's see some thumbs up as I'm stumbling over myself, because I know I enjoyed the recipe, and I'm very excited to see what Jen has for us come December. So with that, this is us, I guess, signing off. Before we leave out, Jen, now, how would people find you on social media? Because you'll probably post this or clips from this along with, if you take any pictures of the beautiful cheese board, we want all those photos. So yeah, put those on as well. But you'll be posting all of this along with updates on what's to come in December. How might they find you? What is the IG to be able to find out how to follow you on social media?
This will be posted on an IG handle called Pattern and Pastry.
Okay.
And that's spelled out A-N-D, Pattern and Pastry. And yeah, I would love for you to follow that. And I'm going to try and post lots of artwork and food combinations on there. It's a new handle, so it's going to get populated very quickly, I would think, especially with the holidays coming up. So I'll keep popping fun things in there.
Well, again, thank you. And it looks like all the thumbs that are going up in our chat, everybody enjoyed it. We have some cheese lovers. I'm a cheese lover as well. I see you.
God, me too.
And then my colleague Sylvia just dropped in the chat your IG handle, so that way you can follow for those who are watching. Again, Pattern and Pastry. So make sure to put the @ symbol in front of it. And just stay tuned for more cool food, more cool art and food combinations as the Newark Museum of Art continues to push forward. And as always, make sure you check in on our website at www.newarkmuseumart.org, where we will post all of our upcoming virtual programs. Again, thank you so much, Jen, for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Tell your family we said hello. And I'm also a little jealous that they get to chow down on that delicious of food that you created there. But again, thank you so much, and thank you all for our viewers who are watching. Bye.